everybody, it's David Kemp. I'm the host of Highway to Health podcast series, and I lead the healthcare vertical here at MarketScale. And we're coming to you live from our brand new studios on floor 53 of the Bank of America Plaza in Dallas, Texas. We're excited to host you. And if you know anything about MarketScale, if you've been in our offices, you've probably heard me say that healthcare needs MarketScale more than any other industry in the world, and I truly believe that. But sometimes it's not heard best coming from a sales guy. So I've invited Blaine Bowman, one of our senior digital media strategists who works with our healthcare customers every day, to get his perspective. Ask him what he sees in healthcare and how he sees our healthcare partners achieving success for their brand, for their organization, and for their customers through media every day. Blaine, thanks for being here. And happy to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, David. It's gonna be a lot of fun to talk about some of my favorite clients in a space that really needs media. So should be a fun conversation.
Well, it's an industry that's near and dear to my heart, and I really appreciate the work that you do with our healthcare customers. Tell us, from your perspective, from what you see every day with our customers, why does healthcare as an industry need to build media channels and to unlock the voices of their true experts more than any other industry?
Yeah, healthcare is such a unique industry in how these experts distribute their knowledge. There's so many different opinions, and we just went through a really big pandemic that put healthcare kind of upside down, where people really had to dig in and figure out what direction are we headed, what do we stand for. So having these platforms, having media be able to support that and unlock these voices is just such a powerful tool, because there's not just one opinion. There's so many different opinions from so many different experts, and giving them that platform to be able to bring that out and push the industry forward is such an important tool for them to use. So it's been really cool to work with these different experts, with FinThrive, with Pelletas, and even Streamline Health, and getting to hear their opinions and then their guests that they bring onto the show. We've had some amazing guests come onto their show and talk about different areas, whether it's payer, whether it's revenue cycle. They've all been able to come on and discuss exactly what they're doing, and giving them that platform to bring that out.
Yeah, I mean, being in healthcare the last 10, 11 years, what I've learned through the sales process is healthcare buyers are some of the most educated buyers in the world. They have to be. The stakes are too high, the margins are too slim, and so when they invest in a partner, it's important for them to trust that partner. Tell us a few ways that you've seen our healthcare companies, our healthcare partners educate their industry, engage and inform their industry through media.
Yeah, one of the main ways that I use with all of my partners is the power of the podcast. Being able to bring on 1 to 2 SMEs to talk about a similar subject, sometimes not even of the same opinion, creates great dialogue, creates great questions and conversation that don't get to happen every single day.
Right.
So being able to bring them on to a podcast and have that discussion for 10, 15 minutes, not only is it engaging and a powerful tool that companies need, but it's a great way for these industry experts to speak their expertise into those that may be struggling with the same issues, that may be having the same questions, that may be dealing with some of the same challenges. And the podcast really does bring that to the limelight.
Yeah, I mean, challenges are easy to find in healthcare. Legislation, regulation, compliance, the entire landscape of healthcare changes all the time. And so our partners, our customers in the healthcare industry, I think can act and move more quickly through media to provide that education to the industry more quickly than they would if they were operating through traditional marketing bottlenecks, right? The white paper, the case study, the PowerPoint, that might take weeks, maybe even more than a month to put together. Through a podcast, when they bring those experts on, they can turn that education, that information around quickly and really guide the industry through that challenge that happens all the time and is reoccurring in a lot of different variations.
Yeah, I agree. White papers are long. We're used to reading, but our attention spans are shrinking every single year. There's studies that have shown that. So having a summary or a discussion that talks about the same thing, and you leave with the same key points and same takeaways, so much stronger, so much more engaging, and you're going to capture more of an audience doing so.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about your personal life, how do you learn anything nowadays? You probably Google it, watch a YouTube video or some sort of video to fix your sink at home, your lawnmower at home, whatever the case may be. When you walk into your professional setting, your business life, your habits don't change. Mm-hmm. And so, these healthcare professionals that are looking to solve their challenges are doing so through media. And whether it's IC System or these other customers that you mentioned, they're able to meet those customers, that healthcare community, where they are and deliver that easily consumed media at their fingertips through podcasts. What other types of media have you seen pay off for our partners?
Yeah, I would say, we do live broadcasts, we do on-site videos as well. Those are larger scale video productions. We've done everything from trade show videos that announces a brand. We've done client advisory board videos to show that feedback is really accepted and valued within a company. We've done videos that speak to their internal platforms and how are some of these features used within the internal platform that you may know about, you may not know about, but just giving an overview of that.
Yeah.
As well as more episodic and short form content as well. For platforms, it's a great way for them to really dive in deep to individual features and functionalities of a platform on a scalable episodic basis.
Yeah.
They can release these weekly, they can release these monthly, and have their SMEs speak to a platform that they already know about, that they use every day, and that they're telling their customers how to use in a really, really easy, simple way.
One of the really cool episodic features that I saw one of our partners do is the celebration of clinics and caregivers that are doing it the right way. Mm-hmm. By celebrating those clinics that are providing the kind of experience, the kind of outcomes that are expected by the patient community, whether that clinic is a customer of theirs or not. Our customer, Cooper Vision, is taking the opportunity to celebrate the caregivers that are putting the human element back into healthcare. And they're using media to celebrate those clinics, those doctors, those caregivers, and build fans around the Cooper Vision brand, and also celebrate those clinics that have gone out of their way to provide the experience that the patients need and are starting to demand. What other episodic features or series have you seen that might be a little outside of the box, may not be as product focused, but help build community, help build fans of a company and of a brand?
Yeah, I've got to shout out FinThrive on that one for sure. They have two separate hosts that they have internally that talk about different segments within their industry. So Brian Urban and Jonathan Wick are doing a great job of leading their industries, and they're not scheduling these podcasts with guests that are internal. They're not scheduling these podcasts to promote what FinThrive does and their product and end-to-end solutions. That's not what their podcasts are about at all. They're inviting other experts, CEOs, CFOs onto their podcast to talk about what are you doing.
Yeah.
How are you pushing the industry forward? What are challenges that you're seeing? And so it's FinThrive's content, it's FinThrive's branded platform, but it's a platform that they're sharing with the industry to really start to dig deep into what's happening, what are people dealing with on a daily basis, and bring out conversations that just need to happen.
Yeah.
They've seen a lot of success with it. They've been leveraging relationship after relationship. They've had some amazing guests on there. I can't name all of them because they're not out yet, but they do a really, really good job of kind of doing what Nike does, where Nike says, hey, they don't say Nike's great, right? Nike's not about themselves. Nike's like, Michael Jordan is an amazing basketball player. If you haven't seen his highlight reel, you should go and check that out. And what's Michael Jordan wearing the entire time? He's got Nike decked out all over him. He's got his own brand. So they're taking that to heart and building that platform and spreading it throughout the industry to create something really, really special.
Yeah, you touched on it. Michael Jordan isn't in the Nike marketing department, right? He is one of their experts that his talents are unlocked through the Nike platform. And where I think MarketScale has really seen benefit for our healthcare partners is taking the traditional marketing team that might be a team of a few and democratizing that content creation process across all of their employees, across all of their partners, their fans, their customers, their prospects, and using the voices of the true experts that live outside of that marketing department to create content more consistently at a bigger scale and with better expertise and authenticity. Because it's the doctor, that treats the patients every day that has a unique perspective. It's, the chief compliance officer that knows about Regulation F and the No Surprises Act in more detail than anybody else, and they can speak to it intelligently, quickly, and concisely. And those are the voices, like Michael Jordan, that are starting to differentiate our customers from their competition. And there's no shortage of competition in healthcare. Tell us how some of your partners, some of your customers have started to see some differentiation from themselves compared to who they used to compete with through being the guide or the educator in the industry.
Yeah. We don't, when it comes to marketing, we don't really live in a marketing era anymore. Marketing itself is kind of dying, or the traditional ways of marketing of, hey, we need all of this copy, we need all of these papers and research, and it's becoming a lot more decentralized. I feel like if you're trying to rely on one or two SMEs all the time within your company, you're not effectively doing everything that you need to really broadcast what your message is and what you stand for. So what I've seen a lot with the success of our partners are those that do rely on others, that have different voices every single piece of content, every single video, every single production. These are different people coming on to discuss what's happening within their industry. And healthcare, like we said, healthcare needs it more than anybody. There's so many experts and there's so many people that have good insights into what's happening from different perspectives, and we need to unlock those voices. And not only that, even though it is at times desegmented, there are different people with different opinions, everybody at the end of the day is pushing it forward. They care about these lives that they're affecting, they care about the jobs that they do, and there's a level of attention to detail within the healthcare industry that is admirable. So with all of that, the success is seen by giving people that platform, by giving people the voice that they need to be able to have those conversations and have those discussions.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The other thing that I'd like to get your opinion on is, healthcare companies typically have great vision. I like to use the term, we have an unfair advantage in healthcare because we have the best stories of any industry in healthcare. Inspiring, heartfelt, relatable stories, right? Because we're all patients at some point. Sometimes that vision that marketing teams have, they struggle to execute on that vision because of a shortage in bandwidth, smaller teams, things like that. In addition to the platform, how does MarketScale partner with our customers to execute on their vision through strategists, creatives, editors, and other resources that they gain access to here?
Yeah, we really do try and take the weight off of that, right? Where you say we're just a department of one or two, or a department of three. We don't have the bandwidth. And where I get to really shine in what I do is where I say, that's no longer your burden. And that does take at times some adjustment of your mindset of like, well, it's my job, it's what I have to do, it's everything, that's what I spend my day doing. It's like, well, great. Now I want you to take all of those conversations that you're having about the in the trenches discussions, and now think strategically, think high level. Ideally, who would you love to bring onto this podcast? Ideally, who would you love to bring onto a video production? Who are your raving fans? How do we unlock them? And now all of a sudden the conversation changes from, oh, we need this podcast and we need this white paper and we need these short sound bites and I'm going to have to call on this person again. I've called on them 30 times to, well, it would actually be really cool to have the CEO of this company join us. It's like, well, great. How can we make that happen for you? And we leverage our creatives, we leverage our publications team, and they do an outstanding job of outreach. and saying, let's get that person on your podcast. Let's get this person on the phone and hear what they have to say. And customer testimonials and those sort of things are so scalable, and everybody has those raving fans that just want to shout your praises of everything that you do. And being able to unlock that with a simple partnership and with a simple, a strategy session is so powerful, and people get, not only do you feel good as a company, but your partners and your customers feel good too, because you value their input, you value what they have to say, and you want to give them that platform that you're utilizing.
Yeah, you're celebrating them, and you're giving them a platform to be a key opinion leader within the industry that they've made a career out of. And so it's a great give for our customers' customers.
Right.
And the other thing, we talked about democratized a little bit, how we help democratize the content creation process, but I've really enjoyed seeing the marketing teams that we work with elevate themselves to a little bit more of a conductor of the music.
Right.
Where instead of feeling like you have to play every instrument in the band, they get to say, I would love this great leader to be on a podcast. You know what? I've got this great sales guy that's experienced and authentic, and he would be great on sound bites. And our chief compliance officer can speak on this new legislation. And being that conductor of the music instead of feeling like they have to be the one to do it all. And so elevating them to a level of a facilitator, a visionary, a creative, and that's probably why they got into healthcare got into marketing to begin with.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had within the healthcare industry of people who have said, this is the reason why I fell in love with healthcare. Right, there's a specific moment that a lot of people can pinpoint that said, this is what I knew I wanted to invest, the rest of my life in. So being able to, like we said, be a creator and be a part of that economy and start creating and giving them that platform is something that maybe they had a thought about or had a dream about, and they're like, well, if it happens, great. I don't have the resources to do it, and that's something that can be unlocked very easily, through a partnership or through a platform.
Yeah. If I'm not putting you on the spot too much, I'd like to get into, the data a little bit. What have you seen in terms of the type of engagement, the type of impressions, the returns that these companies are getting by posting more, by democratizing, by being more consistent in their media creation and distribution? What kind of feedback do they get from their community when they're creating and distributing more and more media content?
Yeah, well, I'll start off with this. I actually had a conversation today with one of our healthcare partners that they were actually discussing. We don't have to do video if we don't want to. Actually, said that to one of their guests. We don't have to do video if we don't want to. We can just do audio for this podcast. And so while this conversation was happening, they were discussing it, I was pulling up their data and analytics and said, when the conversation had finally kind of subsided, I said, I want to speak up really quickly because I think this is important for you guys to know. Your audio in total of all the podcasts that you guys have submitted, you're sitting just under 50 for all of your episodes. I said, for all of your video views, you're sitting over 3,000. So the notion of like, well, we don't have to do video. Like, well, the data says different. Data says you have to do video. People engage with people.
Yeah.
If we were doing this conversation and I heard it over audio, I'm going to already make an assumption of who you are without even seeing who you are.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas video, I'm going to see who you are. I'm going to see your body language. I'm going to see how you hold yourself, and I'm going to be able to relate to you on a much higher capacity than I would by just listening to your voice. This was seen in politics, whenever politics went from the radio to the TV, right?
Sure.
So we can see the power of video. So with that data and knowing that we should push towards video, one of the things that I've definitely seen, especially not just in the healthcare industry, but in the healthcare industry for sure, is as you are building this platform, as you are building your brand through media, and you start inviting on and decentralizing the way that we see a lot of success with, you will then grow your interest from others. I've seen this in multiple industries, and what I mean by this is if you start bringing on guests, all of a sudden you have 10, you have 15 episodes, and you're able to start being like, well, we had this person on, and we had this person on, and this person on. And as you have those visions and those dreams of my ideal guest would be this person, you now have a proof of concept. You're now able to go to these people and say, we had so-and-so on the podcast, we had so-and-so on the podcast, and we had this person on a podcast. And they're like, oh, that person was on a podcast? What did they talk about? I know him. I want to, we work together, back over at, this company. And it's like, oh, well, they talked about X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, that sounds exactly right up their alley. Have you guys had a discussion about, something I'm interested in? It's like, well, no, we haven't. Or yes, we have, but we talked about it from this perspective. Is that something you'd like to add to? And so now all of these heavy lifts that you felt, oh, I've got to reach out, I've got to do this, they're now coming to you just out of a natural conversation. And that's such a cool experience to hear whenever you get on a phone with a client of the like, guess who just reached out to us and said they want to join our podcast. It's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what we've been building towards. And so that's one of the coolest moments. And
think about that.
Yeah.
When's the last time somebody called and asked to be a part of a white paper?
Never.
Right? It is media helps you create fans of your organization, and fans do the marketing for you. Mm-hmm. And so it further democratizes it. It decreases your reliance on advertising, and you can build trust and build community across the healthcare industry through media, and you get to see it every day. That's exciting.
Yeah.
When we talk about podcasts and we talk about virtual events and on-site video, all these things, these types of media, we just came out of a highly political season, right? And that's where my mind goes. How silly of a strategy would it be for a politician, a political candidate to say, I'm going to run for office, but I'm not going to do town halls. I'm not going to go to the parades. I'm not going to do news opportunities. I'm not going to be a part of media. How silly of a strategy would that be for a politician? In B2B, we've been operating far too long without building a community through media, like just similar to the way a politician would. We've been operating with an arm behind our back, especially in healthcare. This is an opportunity for those companies to build that community, build those fans, democratize the content creation, and truly educate, engage, and inspire a whole industry through the voices of the experts.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more with you, David. It's definitely something that B2C continues to push things forward and push things ahead and come up with new ideas, and B2B tends to stay with things that they're safe, they're proven, and we know they work. And for a B2B company to have more of a B2C mindset is exciting because you get to do things that are different. You get to do things that make you stand out, and you kind of can be on the forefront of what you're doing as far as your media or marketing or outreach efforts. And from what we've seen on our end, we see a lot more engagement, a lot more success with those that are willing to take those risks versus those who like to stay in their old ways and where they're comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the biggest objections I get during the sales process is, well, I don't have the kind of people that would be willing to do this type of media. Mm-hmm. How have you seen that coin flip or that domino fall as momentum starts, as they see positive returns, as they see their colleagues and their peers doing more and more?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a domino effect. When one person sees success, it's like, okay, cool, that's interesting that you succeeded, and that's going to perk up some ears and be like, they saw success. Maybe I need to do that too. But when you really see success, once you're 10, 15 episodes, a couple productions in, and you really start to see that return, is when people really buy in. Yeah. And so, I'll say this: if you do one podcast and you do one soundbite and you do one video production, and you say you don't see the results that you want to see, you really haven't invested in your messaging. You haven't invested in your people. You haven't done this correctly. These are things that you have to really invest time in. The things that you really have to invest in your people in, and you really have to plan for. You can't expect it to magically fall in your lap and happen.
It's like working out.
Exactly.
You do it once and say, I don't have six-pack abs. Well, join the club.
Yeah.
You got to do it more often. You have to be more consistent. And then once that flywheel starts taking effect,
right,
you've built a community. What's happening now is you're guiding the industry through the challenges that are preventing people from being successful and providing the kind of care and the outcomes that they want for the patient community. And so I couldn't agree with you more. I'm encouraged to hear all the positive things coming out of our current customers. Thanks for joining. And just to recap, for those listening and watching, healthcare needs media channels. They need MarketScale more than any other industry. And the reasons are exactly what we talked about today. It's the most educated buyer that you're gonna face. So you have to educate them, guide them to the solution that's best for their business. You have to celebrate the caregivers that are making the impacts, the most important impacts in our healthcare's population. And then finally, they're very tech savvy. So you have to meet them where they are through the type of media that they enjoy consuming. It's time efficient for them in their busy day to listen to a podcast on the way to work or while they work out, as opposed to a white paper that they have to devote a whole block of schedule towards. So meet your customers where they are. Meet the healthcare industry where they are. Celebrate those caregivers that are making an impact, and truly educate, inform, and inspire the entire industry through the challenges that they're facing every day. I appreciate y'all joining. Blaine, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks, everyone.